Hello everyone, you're all very much welcome to this webinar, and I hope you have been enjoying the AI-driven Success Summit so far. So my name is Sarah Lynch and I'm a digital content writer here at Profile Tree, and I use AI tools every day within my role, and honestly every day it just feels like I learned something new from them. And I suppose as they become more mainstream, the focus now is shifting towards how they can be used for the everyday business owner or marketing professional, or really anyone with an interest in SEO. So that's what we're aiming to do today. And hopefully by the end of this session, you will leave with some actionable takeaways on how you can use AI for your SEO strategy. And if you do have any questions throughout this session, you can just pop them into the chat below or save them until the end for our Q&A session. Okay, so AI-powered SEO. So just to give you a brief overview of the kind of things that we're going to cover throughout this webinar, we will start with website auditing and how AI tools can help you in that process. We'll also talk a wee bit about how you can use AI tools for competitor analysis. I'll then move on to how you can use AI tools for your SEO strategy. So that would be things like keyword generation, generating article outlines, updating existing content, calendars, and even some more technical things like a backlink analysis. And then we'll talk a bit about how AI content is affecting the SEO landscape in 2024. And I'll give you some tips for creating quality AI-assisted content before finishing up with a kind of AI cheat sheet. So that's what we're going to cover, and we have a lot to do in a short amount of time. So let's get stuck in. So website auditing. So it's very important to remember that research always comes before strategy. You need to know where you currently stand before you can make any plans to move forward. So website auditing is really important for informing your SEO strategy. And essentially, you're just trying to understand two things. First thing, what do audiences think of your website? And the second, what do search engines think of your website? Because your SEO strategy needs to appeal to both the search engines that will rank your website content and the actual audiences who will read the content. So how can AI help you uncover those two things? So for what audiences think of your website then, it's relatively easy to find out what audiences think of your website. You can start by using a simple website analysis tool like Ubersuggest, but you could also use the data that you can collect from Google Search Console if that's something that you already have set up for your website. But if not, Ubersuggest is perfectly fine. So Ubersuggest, it isn't an AI tool. It's a separate platform that you can use for running a website analysis, and it does offer up to 3 free searches per day, so you don't necessarily need to purchase a paid subscription in order to use it. At the moment, it does provide a level of detail for a website audit that most AI tools are capable of. It gives you a lot of detail and analysis on your website's performance. However, in saying that, at the rate that AI is advancing, I wouldn't be surprised if I was saying the complete opposite in a few months' time. Before now, the likes of Ubersuggest, they do provide the best level of detail for your website audit. So Ubersuggest can provide you data that will show you things, like which of your blogs are getting the most traffic, what kind of content that your audiences tend to prefer. So that might be opinion pieces or how-to guides or whatever kind of content it is that they're preferring. It will also identify what keywords that your website is currently ranking for, and it will identify the top ranking articles or pages on your website. So it's all really good information for getting a good picture of what audiences think of your website. But what do search engines think of your website? So this is where tools like ChatGPT can really make it easier for understanding what search engines think of your website. So you can still do this manually with Ubersuggest, and that would just be, reading through the data that it has collected and seeing what kind of keywords it's picked up from your website's content. And that will give you a good idea of what search engines think it is that your website is about. But AI tools, they can make that process a lot more easier for you to understand. So essentially what you want to do is copy in the data that you have gathered from Ubersuggest, and you can simply just ask it to identify topic clusters. And in essence, these topic clusters, they summarize how search engines are viewing your website, or in other words, what Google thinks it is that you provide. So if your topic clusters, if they're correct and they're related to the keywords that you want to target, that's great news. Keep going with that kind of content. But you might find in some situations that the topic clusters that it has picked out, they're just not relevant to your SEO strategy. And you might need to pivot your content strategy and target topic clusters that make more sense to your business and what it is that you provide. So just to show you an example of that in action then, I have done one with our website audit profile tree. And you can see from the screenshot example that the topic clusters that are identified, they're generally good. They relate to our business and our core services. So topic clusters like blogging and vlogging, social media, marketing strategies, they're all really good, and they all relate to what we provide as a web design and digital marketing agency. But if you can see there, I've also noticed that it's picked up professional development as a topic cluster. So maybe I would use that information and I would say, okay, so in 2024, we'll focus less on the professional development type of content, and we'll put more attention towards dominating the topic clusters that we're already ranking for. And it's also important to note that it's so much easier to increase your keyword ranking for existing topic clusters than it is to rank for new ones. So you just want to keep that in mind for informing your SEO strategy going forward. But because as a business, AI has exploded onto the scene and it's just taken up so much space in digital marketing, we also want to focus on that in 2024. So, you have to kind of judge yourself. Where do you want your business to go and how are you going to appeal to search engine algorithms? Because it is balancing a fine line between the both of them. And in an ideal world, you want to dominate one space first before you move on to the next. So if you were a wedding shop, let's say, you might want to dominate the topic cluster of wedding dresses in Belfast before you move on to the topic cluster of, bridesmaids dresses in Belfast. You want to start with your best selling keywords or your most targeted keywords first, dominate that space, and then branch out into other areas that your business provides. And you also want to keep that in mind that also applies to local SEO efforts. So you would rather focus, if you're based in Belfast, you would focus on dominating Belfast-based key terms or keywords before you move on to, wider areas like within the UK and Ireland. So start small, dominate it first, and then grow big afterwards is kind of the ethos behind that kind of thinking. So your website competitor analysis. So part of your SEO strategy should look at what your competitors are doing on their websites. But this can take a large amount of time and effort. By the time you find your competitors, you look through their blog pages and their website pages. It's a long process to understand what they do and what they provide. But again, AI tools are making this process a lot quicker and more effective to do. So I find that Google Bard is the best AI tool that you can use for performing a website competitor analysis. Other AI tools like ChatGPT and Claude AI, they're going to claim that they can access the internet, and they will say that they can, but often that's not the case. It doesn't do what it says on the tin, essentially. So I find Google Bard to definitely be the best one to use for accessing the internet. And it's also free. So it doesn't have a premium plan. It's just the same free service that everyone can use. So in order to perform a simple website competitor analysis, you can just use this simple prompt. And it's just simply, can you compare my website? And you would paste in your website's URL with my competitor's website. And again, you would just paste in their URL. And then you would ask, look at it as an SEO expert and advise me on what I can do for my SEO strategy going forward. So that's a really simple, easy prompt to get the AI tool to start looking at your website content compared to one of your competitors. If you are going to use this for a website competition analysis, I would suggest that you only stick with one competitor each time. Just reason being, it can get a little bit confusing if you put too many competitor URLs in there. So it's just best to stick with the one. But from the screenshot example, you can see that it's given a really detailed breakdown of the difference between the two websites that are both within a similar niche. It's really detailed and it goes right down to stuff like calls to action, case studies, reviews, testimonials, really good stuff that would be good to include on either, the website landing pages or in updated article posts. And it's even given a good analysis and even started to suggest recommendations for improving the website's SEO going forward. So it's really helpful for anyone out there that just wants to have a brief picture of what their competitors are doing and what they can do, to set themselves apart from the competition and also ensure that they're appealing to similar target audiences. And, if you also think about how a website competition analysis that previously could have taken hours to do, but with that AI tool, that maybe took me 15, 30 minutes just to have a good read through and understand what it was saying. So you can really see the value in using AI tools like Google Bard for this purpose. Okay, so superpower your SEO strategy with AI tools. So we have taken a look at using AI tools for website auditing and for competitor research. But next I want to show you just some of the ways that AI tools can be used for the SEO strategy process. So that will be things, like keyword generation and even more technical SEO things like backlinking. But we will go into much more detail on each of these next. So AI tools, just to give you a brief overview of some of the AI tools that we're going to talk about. So OpenAI, these are the parent company basically of ChatGPT. So Microsoft Bing has invested $10 billion into Chat. So it's quite a big investment. The platform also offers both a paid version and a free version. The paid version, it does offer a lot more features compared to the free version. And it is one of the most popular AI tools that are being used at the minute. It's only been on the scene really in the last couple of years, but the amount of people that's using it right now, it's just amazing. So it's a really popular tool. The next one we're going to discuss then we've already met, which is Google Bard. And essentially this is Google's version of AI. It doesn't have a paid plan. It's entirely free. So no matter who is using it, you're all using the same version. And the third one we're going to talk about then is Claude AI. And this was developed by the company Anthropic. And just as a little fun fact, the founders of Claude were actually former ChatGPT employees. So as you can imagine, there's a lot of drama surrounding that. But Google has also invested $2 billion into Claude. So you can see that, it's a bit of a race between the search engines of who's going to back, the best AI in the future. And Claude, it also offers both a paid version and a free version. And again, the paid version has a bit more features compared to the free one. And users of the platform, if you're a paid user, you'll also get preference for usage, during peak times and things like that. Okay, so that's all the 3 AI tools that we're going to discuss in this webinar going forward. And for the most part, they can all be used interchangeably. They all perform similar functions, but I will point out situations when that's not the case. But I think it's just a good idea, to introduce you to a few different versions of AI tools, as when you come to using them on your own, you might want to play around with them and see which ones work best for you. And it's also worth keeping in mind that they're all in competition with one another. So they're all going to be doing new things at different times. And what might be the best AI tool today, that might not necessarily be the case tomorrow. So really worth keeping in mind, and just really keeping your options open as to what AI tool you're going to use the most. Okay, so for any SEO strategy, keywords is obviously a major part of it. And again, you can use the likes of Ubersuggest for this. And admittedly, they do provide much more detail for keywords. They'll go into the keyword difficulty and the search volume. But we are starting to see that AI tools are starting to close that gap. And they're making it much, much easier for you to generate keywords without having to use other website auditing or keyword generating platforms like Ubersuggest. And in the example below, you can see that I have just used the simple prompt. I own a wedding dress store based in Belfast called Dainty Dresses. I am hoping to improve the SEO performance of my website. Can you generate a list of keywords that I should use for content writing? And I want to dominate the topic cluster of wedding dresses in Belfast. So from that prompt, you can see I'm being really clear with the instruction about who I am and what it is that I want to achieve. And from the screenshot here on Bard's response, you can see that it's generated a really impressive list of keywords to target. It's even started sorting them into primary keywords, secondary keywords, and long tail keywords, which is all really, really good information for informing my SEO strategy going forward. And just to show you the difference between the AI models that I have mentioned previously, I've also included screenshots of ChatGPT's response and Claude's response. And from the screenshot examples, you can see that many of the keywords that all three of them have generated are quite similar. But in all honesty, I would still prefer the Google Bard response, just simply because it's offered a lot more detail and a lot more focus for my SEO strategy. So I know the kind of keywords that I am going to target going forward. But either way, whichever one you decide to go for, you can't deny that all three of them provide really good value for generating keywords. So blog title ideas. So AI can also help you, turn those keywords into blog title ideas, which you could then use as part of your SEO content strategy going forward. And you can see from the simple prompt that I have used, can you just generate some blog titles based on these keywords? And really, I'm just letting AI do the legwork. I can then just go in and really cherry pick the titles that sound interesting to me and also relevant to my business and my brand. So really, it's just a soundboard to generate ideas off and go in and cherry pick, what ones mean the most to you and what blog titles that you want to then pursue in your SEO strategy. So you can also make use out of AI tools when it comes to actually writing the content. But rather than just asking it to write this blog and, getting some generic result that is the same really as every other blog out there, you really want to work these AI tools in such a way that it writes something unique and something relevant for your business. So you just really want to start by asking it to generate an article outline. I find that that's just the best way to, get the most out of the AI tool. And for this example, I'm using Claude. So again, I have just went back to the example of a wedding dress store located in Belfast. and I have asked the blog to, or sorry, I've asked the AI tool to generate a blog outline for the title Accessorizing Your Wedding Dress. And, just by first asking it to generate, the article outline, you can have a scan over the topics and just really make sure that they speak to your brand, and they're the kind of things that you want to talk about and the kind of things that you want to include. You can also add in your own expertise and your own product recommendations, and ultimately just make sure that you're using the AI tool as a writing partner. And you also want to take it paragraph by paragraph. So when it comes to writing the content, say for that first introduction, I might put in another couple of bullet points that I want to talk about. I would ask the AI tool to write the intro first. I wouldn't just say, write the whole thing. I just find that you tend to get a lot more detail and a better quality of output when you give AI tools smaller sections to work on, as opposed to, write the whole thing. So just keep in mind to take it paragraph by paragraph, and just really to make sure that it speaks to your business and your brand. Okay, so updating existing content. So just with the way that we are seeing SEO trends and how they're going to go in 2024, we're seeing a really big preference for search engines that prefer updated content rather than newly published content. So they don't want the brand new shiny blogs. They would rather have, or they would tend to prefer blogs that have been updated regularly. So that's blogs that, maybe you're adding to every other week or month or quarter, just rather than publishing them as brand new articles. So this is definitely something that you want to be aware of for your SEO strategy, and you can use AI tools to help you do this. So I have just taken the data that we gathered right at the beginning from Ubersuggest, and I have just selected one of the most popular articles that we have, and it's one just about building a website on Wix. And I have just simply copied in the keywords that it currently ranks for and used the prompt, this article, paste in the URL, currently ranks for these keywords, paste it in the URL again. Can you recommend other content and other keywords that I should include in order to rank higher and for more related keywords? So, you can see that immediately it's going to start generating ideas for content. And just to show you in the next slide, that these suggestions, they're quite good stuff, and they're quite good topics, that somebody reading this kind of blog would be interested in. So things like adding e-commerce features or making it responsive for mobile formats and website security. Really good, informative things that I think would work well and within this website, because ultimately I want to make this article the best possible resource that someone can go to if they're interested in building a website on Wix. And these suggestions are helping me do that. And when I update this article with more helpful paragraphs, even if it's only another couple of paragraphs that give another few tips and tricks for using Wix to build a website, in Google's eyes, that's another gold star for your website and for your SEO goals. So just definitely really worth, as part of your SEO strategy in 2024, to include updating existing articles as part of that strategy. Okay, so videos to blogs. So this is another great way of using AI just to get the most out of your content for your SEO efforts. So as I'm sure you know, for anyone who creates videos, video content takes a lot longer to produce than written content. And a lot of hard work goes into it, from recording and editing, voiceovers and things like that. So it's a lot of work, and you want to get the most out of that work. So you can actually take the transcript from your video, and you can use a tool like ChatGPT in order to turn your video transcript into an article. And that ensures then that you have an original blog post, with really unique content, and you've created it with minimal effort because you've just used the transcript and an AI tool in order to produce a really interesting article. And I suppose it also ensures that your message, whether it's on your YouTube channel or your website's blog page, it's being seen and heard across all platforms, and increases the chances of it being consumed in the way that audiences prefer. So whether they prefer video content or blog content, you have both sources ready for them to consume. So it's a really nice trick, I suppose, of keeping in mind of how you can use AI tools to turn your videos into nice, uniquely structured articles. And there I have just copied in a simple prompt. Can you create me an article for, put in the title, using this transcript as the information within the content, and then just simply paste your transcript in. So really a quick tip and trick to keep in mind for your SEO strategy going forward. Okay, so now we have looked at using AI tools to help us audit a website, to research competition, to generate keywords, generate blog ideas, and even write the content itself. But now it's time to start thinking about planning the content. So you can use AI tools to help you generate a content calendar for your SEO strategy. And this can help you ensure that your SEO efforts stay on track. And it's incredibly helpful for the likes of busy business owners. It takes the thinking time out of having to plan a content calendar. It's also worth keeping in mind that search engine algorithms, they like to see regular content being posted or updated. So when you're doing a content calendar, just keep it in mind that it's better to do 1 or 2 blogs a week as opposed to 10 in 1 week. You want to set a regular strategy, you want to set a regular strategy going forward, just so you can have the best impact for your SEO efforts. And from the screenshot there, just to the right, you can see that ChatGPT has been really good at planning a 10-week content calendar for 2 blogs a week. Just really taking out the thinking work so you can focus on the bigger picture things, I suppose. Okay, so backlink analysis. So some AI tools are starting to get really good at performing technical SEO processes, and the backlink analysis is one of them. And for anyone who might be a little bit unsure of what a backlink is, it's essentially a vote of confidence from one website to another. So it occurs when a website places a hyperlink that points to your website. And you can think of it as essentially, one website saying, hey, this website over here has really valuable information. You should check it out. So you might also hear of it being called an inbound link or an incoming link, just to keep that in mind. But for the purpose of this webinar, we're going to stick with backlink. So backlinks are really, really important for your SEO, particularly when you're trying to increase the authority and credibility of your website. And again, there are third-party platforms that you can use for completing a backlink analysis, but we're starting to see AI tools provide that service in a really quick and easily accessible way. And again, I suppose it comes as no surprise, I vouch for Google Bard as the best AI tool that you can use for accessing links. It can conduct a backlink analysis using platforms that you would initially need to create an account for. So one of them is Ahrefs. But when you use Google Bard for backlink analysis, it can, provide a really in-depth overview. It can show you how many backlinks you have in total, your domain rating, your top anchor text, your overall backlink profile, and it can even go so far as to recommend backlinks that you should target for your SEO strategy going forward. So it's a really good tip for using AI, especially if backlinks is a main focus for your SEO strategy in the new year. Okay, so with so much discussion around using AI for your SEO efforts, I think it's just really important that we take a wee moment to discuss whether search engines like Google, whether or not they like AI content. because obviously, that's important to know. So in their last helpful update, they have addressed the issue of AI content. And the sentiment, it seems to be that they welcome AI content, but they're putting quality above everything else. So there's less of a focus on how the content is produced and more of a focus on the quality of the content itself. So, there's going to be so much AI generated and AI assisted content out there. So the focus going forward is just making sure that the quality of your content is paramount and it's the best quality that you can produce. So how can you create quality AI assisted content? So Google has set these guidelines. They're called EAT. It's EEAT, which stands for experience, expertise, authoritiveness, and trustworthiness. So it's essentially a framework used by Google to assess the quality of the content on your websites, and you have to use these guidelines in your SEO strategy. So it's really important that you include things like your own experience and expertise, industry advice, thoughts and opinions, recommendations, reviews, or really whatever it is that's from your business's perspective and whatever it is that you're going to include that makes your content unique. Ultimately, you need to keep it in mind that you're using AI to aid in the quality content creation process, not replace. So it's a writing partner, not an absolute writer. So as we're heading towards the end of this webinar, I just really want to show you an example of AI-assisted content that performs well on Google. So this article on Irish farewell blessings, it's from our internal travel and tourism brand called Conley Cove. And as you can see, it's sitting as the #1 result on Google for Irish farewell blessings. And I personally used AI in order to help me write this article and to update it. And I've really just followed the exact same advice that I have given you today. And as you can see, it does work. But it only works when you use it in a responsible and in an SEO focused way. And I suppose it just really highlights the fact, at Profile Tree, we have these internal brands that we can trial and test, new technology or change in SEO algorithms with. And through this, test and trial phase, we're able to develop a robust procedure like the one I've just explained today, and how you can use AI tools for your SEO efforts. And, we can show you evidence that this procedure that I'm explaining today, it does work because we're able to take, top spots with AI assisted content, like the example just shown there. So before I leave you all, I just want to finish up with a quick AI cheat sheet that you can start using. And in order to get the best results when you're using AI tools, so that doesn't matter, if it's Google Bard or ChatGPT or Claude or really any AI tool that you might encounter in the future that works similar to those. This kind of format seems to work the best for getting the best results. So you want to give it a perspective, you want to give it a mission, and you want to give it a desired outcome. So examples of that might be, for perspective, I will say I am a florist, dog groomer, restaurant owner, bridal shop owner, photographer, SEO specialist, artist, personal trainer, recruiter, whatever your role is. Say what you are, or what it is that you provide. You then want to state your mission. So your mission could be improve my SEO, create a better user experience, rank in a higher position, create content around a topic cluster, outrank my competition, or improve my backlink profile. Whatever your specific SEO goal is, you want to state what your mission is. And then you want to finish with an ideal outcome. So you want to say, can you complete a website, suggest a list of keywords, generate a list of blog titles, suggest ways to update this content, analyze my content compared to my competition, or, analyze my existing backlink profile. Whatever the exact action is that you want it to take, just make sure that you state that. So in essence, when you give these AI tools their prompt, you're essentially stating it like, I am A, I would like to, and can you? And that's just a really good way of following that structure to make sure that you're giving AI tools really clear instructions that tend to produce better responses. So that's the end of the webinar. I just really want to thank you all for joining. And I know that we have covered quite a lot of information. So I hope that you've been able to get some valuable tips and tricks from that. And you're able to use some of the stuff that we covered today for your SEO strategy going forward. If you do have any questions, please feel free to share them now, and we can give them an answer before the next session begins. So thank you all for your time today, and take care. Thank you.